In April 1986, an explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant unleashed a catastrophe unlike anything the world had seen before. The fallout was not just radioactive, it was economic, social, and environmental, with impacts still felt today. What happened at Chernobyl serves as a chilling reminder of how quickly life can change, and the lessons from this disaster are invaluable for anyone preparing for the unexpected. Welcome to Prepper's Paradigm, your channel dedicated to practical prepping and disaster preparedness. Today, we're diving into one of history's most infamous disasters, the Chernobyl nuclear explosion. We'll explore what led to this catastrophic event, the devastation it caused both locally and globally, and what preppers can take away from it to better protect themselves and their families. For those of you who are new here, I use a computer-generated voice due to an injury that makes my own voice hard to understand. Now, let's begin by breaking down exactly what happened at Chernobyl, why it occurred, and the immediate consequences for those caught in its path. On April 26, 1986, Reactor 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Pripyat, Ukraine, suffered a catastrophic explosion during a late-night safety test. This test was meant to simulate a power outage to ensure the plant could safely cool itself in the event of an emergency. However, a combination of design flaws in the reactor and critical errors made by the operators turned the routine procedure into a disaster. The reactor went into an unstable state, and within seconds, a massive explosion tore through the building, blasting the reactor core open. This wasn't just an industrial accident. It was the start of a nuclear disaster. The explosion released an enormous plume of radioactive material into the atmosphere, which would go on to affect millions of lives. Firefighters and plant workers responded immediately, but most were unaware of the extent of the radiation exposure they were facing. These first responders became the first victims, many succumbing to acute radiation sickness in the days and weeks that followed. The nearby city of Pripyat, home to roughly 49,000 people, was not evacuated until nearly 36 hours after the explosion. Residents left with only what they could carry, expecting to return in a few days. Instead, they never came back, leaving behind a ghost city frozen in time. The Soviet government initially tried to cover up the disaster, delaying international acknowledgement until radiation alarms were triggered in Sweden. By then, the damage was done. The radioactive cloud had already spread across Europe, leaving a legacy of contamination and health impacts that would last for generations. The effects of the Chernobyl disaster were far-reaching, impacting not only the immediate area, but also the global community. Let's break it down into three key areas: local immediate effects, long-term consequences, and global implications. The immediate local impacts were devastating. The explosion at Reactor 4 caused a massive release of radioactive materials, including iodine-131, cesium-137, and strontium-90. Workers and first responders on site were exposed to deadly levels of radiation. Many died within weeks due to acute radiation sickness, while others suffered long-term health consequences. The city of Pripyat, located just 3 miles from the reactor, experienced significant fallout. Despite the scale of the disaster, the evacuation wasn't ordered until nearly 36 hours later. By then, residents had unknowingly been exposed to harmful levels of radiation. The evacuation was chaotic, with people leaving behind homes, possessions, and lives they would never return to. The long-term consequences for the local area were profound. The area surrounding the Chernobyl plant, now known as the Chernobyl exclusion zone, remains one of the most radioactive places on Earth. Thousands of square miles of land were contaminated, making agriculture and habitation impossible. Wildlife returned to the area over time, but many animals and plants exhibited mutations and reduced populations due to the radiation. The human toll was staggering. The disaster led to an increase in thyroid cancer cases, particularly among children, due to exposure to radioactive iodine. The psychological effects were also profound, with displaced residents struggling to adjust to new lives and living under the shadow of the disaster for decades. The global implications of Chernobyl cannot be overstated. Chernobyl's radioactive cloud didn't respect borders. Winds carried radioactive fallout across much of Europe, spreading contamination thousands of miles away. Certain areas, including parts of Scandinavia, experienced significant contamination, impacting agriculture and public health for years. The economic impact was also massive. The Soviet Union spent billions of rubles on containment, cleanup, and compensation for victims. Internationally, the disaster caused a shift in attitudes toward nuclear power, with many countries revising their nuclear safety protocols or scaling back nuclear energy projects altogether. Chernobyl became a cautionary tale about the risks of nuclear technology, the importance of transparency, and the need for robust disaster preparedness, lessons that are still being learned today. The Chernobyl disaster holds several important lessons for preppers, especially when it comes to preparing for large-scale emergencies that can unfold rapidly and have far-reaching consequences. Let's go over some of the key takeaways. Understand the threat of radiation. Radiation is invisible, odorless, and deadly. Understanding how it works and how to protect yourself is critical. Preppers should learn about the different types of radiation, their effects on the body, and how to minimize exposure. This includes knowing the importance of potassium iodide tablets to protect your thyroid, having a Geiger counter to measure radiation levels, and understanding the principles of time, distance, and shielding to stay safe during a nuclear event. Be ready to evacuate quickly. One of the clearest lessons from Chernobyl is the importance of having a bug-out plan. The residents of Pripyat had to leave with little notice, taking only what they could carry. For preppers, this highlights the need to keep a bug-out bag packed and ready, complete with essentials like clothing, food, water, first aid supplies, and important documents. Practice your evacuation plan and know your routes ahead of time. You might not get a second chance. Stockpile appropriate gear. Chernobyl demonstrated the need for specialized gear in a nuclear disaster. In addition to a well-stocked bug-out bag, consider adding items specifically for nuclear events. Gas masks or respirators, protective suits, and gloves can help reduce exposure. Sealed food and water supplies are essential, as fallout can contaminate local resources for months or even years. For a list of recommended items, check out the link in the video description to our Amazon list with useful tools and supplies. Plan for secondary effects. Even if you live far from a potential disaster site, you could still be affected. The radioactive fallout from Chernobyl reached thousands of miles, contaminating food and water supplies in areas far from the explosion. Preppers should plan for the secondary effects of disasters, such as disruptions to food supply chains, contaminated water, and economic instability. Having a diverse food storage plan and ways to filter or purify water can mitigate these risks. Learn from history. Finally, the most important lesson is to learn from history. Chernobyl was a man-made disaster, but it exposed the vulnerabilities of societies and governments when faced with large-scale emergencies. Being self-reliant and proactive in your preparedness can make all the difference when disaster strikes. By studying events like Chernobyl, preppers can gain valuable insights into how to prepare for nuclear risks and other high-impact scenarios. The more we learn from past disasters, the better equipped we are to face the challenges of the future. Chernobyl stands as one of the most significant disasters in modern history, not just because of its immediate impact, but because of the lessons it continues to teach us. It reminds us how fragile our systems can be and how quickly life can change in the face of a large-scale event. For preppers, this disaster highlights the importance of understanding nuclear risks, being ready to evacuate at a moment's notice, and preparing for the long-term effects of widespread contamination. The residents of Pripyat never imagined they'd be forced to leave their homes forever, but their experience serves as a powerful warning. Disasters don't wait, and they don't always come with a clear warning. By learning from Chernobyl, we can take practical steps to ensure that we are as prepared as possible for the unexpected. Let us know in the comments what lessons you think preppers should take away from Chernobyl. Have you included any nuclear-specific items in your preps? Your insights and experiences can help others in the community become better prepared. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And for more resources, be sure to check out the links in the video description. Thanks for watching Prepper's Paradigm, your channel dedicated to practical prepping and disaster preparedness. Stay safe and stay prepared. I'll leave you with a few more images of Chernobyl and Pripyat as it looks now, many years after the disaster.